Welcome back, everyone. All hail, everyone. Well, all hail to the saints. And welcome back. I'm back in newspaper.com. Praying everyone as well, first of all. I know it's been a little while, but trying to get back into these videos. And this time I had some time. I've been wanting to put this video out for some time, but just haven't, got around to doing it. But thanks be to God, I got a little bit of time and wanted to get back in it. So this video is in regards to an article that was printed April 16th, 1906. I'm going to read through this article, and also tie in aspects from this within this article to other research and other information. And so I'll jump right in. The title of this article is Negro Jews Have a Big Time Under Leadership of Crowdy. So it says New York, April 16th. So many gods, so many creeds. And they're gathered in Plainfield, which is in New Jersey, over against the hills of Watchung, 900 some odd of the lost tribes of Israel. All hail was the greeting of each to each. Peace be unto thee was the response. They kissed each other on the lips, for Solomon had said, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. Thus came the descendants of Israel to Plainfield. In this latter day came the saints of Israel. They declared themselves the only true Jews, and asserted that Christ was a black man. Plainfield failed to house and feed adequately the swarthy multitude. Many were exhausted after long journeys from distant points in the east, west, north, and south. Several delegates came from Kansas and one from Africa. The gathering of these Negroes in Plainfield is for the purpose of celebrating the feast of the Passover. It will continue for a week. Members of the Church of God and saints of Christ regard with loving awe and veneration, their prophet, William S. Crowdy of Emporia, Kansas. He is a tall, powerfully built, white hair and white mustache Negro of 60. 9 years ago, he was the most highly esteemed cook employed on the dining car of the Santa Fe Railroad. One night he had a vision, and a white-robed angel told him he was the reincarnation of Elijah. There was delivered over to him the keys of the scriptures, and by their aid he opened the secrets of the Bible and laid the foundation for his church. This is what he learned. When the temple of Jerusalem was built by an alien army some centuries ago, the people were driven out. 9.5 of the tribes were lost. The followers of Elijah, according to the prophet, were Jews, and the Jews were black, or, as they are now called, Negroes. For does not Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5 and 6, sing in his songs, I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me, because I am swarthy, because the sun hath scorched me. As further proof that Christ was a black man, and that prophet Crowdy and his host are Jews because they are black, Crowdy quotes from Jeremiah 12:21. I am black, astonishment have taken on me. Also Psalms 9:83, for I am become like a bottle in smoke. Once Crowdy had possessed himself of the revealed secrets, he threw up his pots and pans and began preaching to the blacks, telling them that they are the true Jews and that he was Elijah reincarnated. He attracted to him a considerable following. He welcomed whites to his fold. There, color is no bar. The men dress in nut brown suits. Brown signifies meekness. The prophet and some of his more opulent saints wear brown spats, patent leather shoes. The sisters wearing robin egg blue waist. Blue signifies truth. The other official colors are white for purity, red for the sacred blood, black for royalty, and yellow and pink. The prophet won't tell what yellow and pink signify. Those are secrets in the color scheme. The brothers of Israel wear mortarboard hats with tassels. The three corners of the mortarboards symbolizing friendship, love, and truth. Both males and females have sashes flung over their left shoulder, inscribed with letters of the church in glit. Plainfield sat up and took real notice of the hosts when it paraded the streets today. St. Isaac Facet, high bugler of the church, headed the procession, blowing mighty blast on the silver trumpet, shaped like a ram's horn. The prophet, wearing a spiked helmet and white kid gloves, rode in a hack. Behind him came Grandfather Abraham, otherwise William Plummer, and Grandmother Sarah, on weekdays plain Martha Hunter. The ministers of the church, 50 of them, carried each a little basin, a cup and a slice of unleavened bread. The ministers are continually equipped with these articles: the basin in which to wash the feet of the intended converts, the cup to place water to his lips, and the unleavened bread for sacrament. At the conclusion of the street parade, the hosts repaired to the Reform Hall in 2nd Street for a few hours relaxation, I believe, and communion. Careful plans have been made for the beginning of the feast of the Passover, which started at midnight. The elders, under orders from the prophet, had obtained in Plainfield Market whole carcasses of fine spring lamb. A roaring fire was started in the cook stove in the basement of the hall. Stacks of unleavened bread were obtained, and the cask of pure water. Before the feasting began, testimonial service and preaching were held in the hall. Prophet Crowdy looks on Alexander Dowie as a bogus Elijah, pointing to his hair or his kinky wool. The prophet quotes, "His hair will look like lamb's wool, and his eyes look like flames of fire." So yeah. In this article, I wanted to point out some things, some words that really are very interesting when you really begin to research the words and their definitions. So in this paragraph, we have, it says here in Plainfield failed to house and feed adequately the swarthy multitude. So swarthy is not a word that's used too much anymore, but you know what? Let me pull up the definition of swarthy. So for those who don't know, swarthy, let's go to the 1828 Webster's Dictionary. Okay. Swarthy. It's an adjective, being of a dark hue or dusky complexion. Tawny. Alright? Being of a dark hue or dusky complexion. In warm climates, the complexion of men is universally swarthy or black. The Moors, Spaniards, and Italians are more swarthy than the French, Germans, and English. Alright? This is in Noah Webster's dictionary. He is not swarthy. Yeah. Okay. So you see the definition of swarthy, and here it's being used to describe the multitude of the saints who are gathering in Plainfield. Okay. Plainfield failed to house and feed adequately the swarthy multitude. And here again, the word is used. It says, "I am black but comely." This is Psalms of Solomon Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me, because I am swarthy, because the sun hath scorched me. All right, so swarthy is again used in this scripture. Let me go. So in the King James version of the Bible, the King James, it says, look not upon me because I am black. But even that is describing complexion. Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. But in the English Revised Version, as you can see, swarthy is used, and also in this the Tanakh, 1917. Look not upon me because I am swarthy. Okay, and even so as you can see, some translations have swarthy and black are interchangeable. Swarthy and black are interchangeable in regards to complexion. So we have this term swarthy, and we understand the context of what it's used. We understand its definition. So I'm gonna pull up an article. This article is from the Pennsylvania Gazette, and the date on this is 1740. Okay, it says runaway on the 26th passed from the subscriber of Cecil County, Maryland. It says an Irish servant man named Patrick Bourne. All right, Irish servant man named Patrick Bourne, of middle stature, well fit, of a swarthy complexion. All right, this man Patrick Bourne, he was an Irish servant man of a dark, swarthy complexion. Again, he's an Irish man of a dark, swarthy complexion. All right, so let's go to another article. At this time, January 13th, 1763. All right, so this is also in the Pennsylvania Gazette. It says here, runaway from subscriber. Again, he's a runaway. So we're talking about slaves here. In the last article, runaway, we're talking about slaves or indentured servants. A lot of times those from Europe were on a service contract. That's why you see names like, or you see a servant man named Patrick Bourne. He was on a service contract, and he ran away on the 26th from his servant contract. And so essentially he was indentured, and he ran away from his indentured. And so here we have another runaway. All right, English convict servant girl. Okay, servant girl, named Elizabeth Almack, 20 years of age, fair hair, brown eyes, short nose, thick lips, full face, of a very swarthy complexion, very thick arms and thick short fingers, of a middle stature. Again, we have a English convict servant girl named Elizabeth Almack, English service girl. She's a runaway from a subscriber, and she is of a very swarthy complexion. Again, swarthy being of a dark hue. So again, swarthy and black are interchangeable. So this person was so today she would be considered a black woman. essentially. 20 years of age, a black girl. But at the time, we understand that she's an English convict servant. Therefore, she is from England. And the previous one, he is an Irish servant. Therefore, he is from Ireland. And essentially the difference is in the language that was spoken. This guy, Patrick Bourne, spoke Irish. And this young black or swarthy, very swarthy young lady spoke English. All right? And there's a $4 reward for her. Okay, let's continue. Here we have, now I'm talking about a different group of people. And this time, this one's in the Newcastle Weekly Courier. Let's see what the heading is. Saturday, November 20th, 1742. And this is in England. This is the newspaper from Newcastle, England. Okay? So, Newcastle, England has this article. Let's get back to where. Okay, here we go. It says the native Indians. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go. Let's get some context to what this article is talking about. It says a discovery of the Northeast Passage to the East Indies being looked upon as very useful to the trade of England. All right, so we're talking about trade of England and the Northeast Passage to the East Indies, as well as to all Europe. We make no doubt but to follow letters from a gentleman on board of the two ships that were sent to discover the said passage will be satisfactory as well as entertaining to our reader. All right. From on board His Majesty's ship, the Furnace, in Churchill River, North America. So we're talking about North America. All right. Again, trade of England. So down here, we have some descriptions going on. It says that the native Indians, again, we're talking about North America, the native Indians are a very active people, but unmindful of futurity, only careful for the present. They are of a swarthy complexion and middle stature. They trade in all kinds of furs with the English for brandy, tobacco, guns, powder, and shot. All right, so again, we have another group of people who are said to be swarthy complexion. You see the theme? So we have Irish, swarthy, English, again, Irish servants, swarthy, English servants, swarthy, and then we have native Indians who are also said to be of swarthy complexion. So if we interchange swarthy for black, Irish black, English black, native Indians black. Okay, so it's a lot of common themes. Of course, this is something that we were never told in school about swarthy complexion native Indians. We're talking about black complexion. We've been given an image of, more so lighter color Indians. I definitely didn't hear about any black or swarthy color English growing up. We were told they were essentially white men. And we were never told about the Irish dark swarthy complexion. But let's continue. So here, this is from Kansas in 1891. Okay. Again, this is all public record. This is not like some, secret vault of. This is all public record. This is not a matter of, some things that are just in some secret closet or some secret. This is just a couple nimble swipes of Google. You can get, you can have access to a lot of different information, be able to tie in a lot of different things. So this is like yeah, this is all public record, and so I'm just tying things together. So this article, it says character in the eyes. The eyes have always been regarded as sure tribal characteristics, says the St. Louis Republic. Tacitus, for example, describes the Germans as fierce with blue eyes and red hair. The Celts are mentioned as being, here's that word again, swarthy skin. The Celts. Never heard about swarthy skin Celts. But we're talking about swarthy skin Celts, which is, the mascot the Boston Celtics are named after. They're named after the Celts. And so, it's no wonder that Boston. But it's interesting that word is termed the swarthy skin Celts. But yeah, as you can see, now we've added Celts to the list of swarthy skin. So we have Irish, English, Native Indian, and now Celts. 1891. Okay, so let's continue. All right. Of course, we went over the Songs of Solomon, and now to tie it all down, we're gonna go here to. It says 1751 observations concerning the increase of mankind, and this is by Ben Franklin. This was it's the Franklin Papers, titled "Observation concerning increase of mankind." The author was Benjamin Franklin. We know that name, Benjamin Franklin. He's considered one of essentially the founding fathers of America. 1751. It's called Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind. So let's see what Ben Franklin has to say about the increase of mankind and its observations. All right. If you scroll down here to number 24, it reads like this. Okay. It says, which leads me to add one remark. That the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. Again, this is 1751 that Benjamin Franklin is talking about this. All Africa is black or tawny. You remember we have tawny here, which is talking about a dark hue or dusky complexion, tawny. All right? Or tawny. Asia, chiefly tawny, again, black. Asia, chiefly tawny. America, exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. So he's saying that all America is black or tawny, except the newcomers who are the Europeans. Some of the, again, Europe was, as we can see, a mixed multitude of people. But before that, America was wholly tawny or black. And again, we're talking about the early beginnings of Europeans coming to America in groves. Again, the Declaration of Independence was signed until 1776, so we're talking about 20 years before Benjamin Franklin is talking about that. So we're getting shipments of Europeans into America. And remember, Europe is a mixed multitude. Just like a mixed multitude came out of Egypt, a mixed multitude came back. Let me continue. So it says here that and in Europe the Spaniards, now hear this, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only accepted who, with the English, make up the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. All right, so we're talking about Saxons who, with the English, make up the principal bodies. All right, so essentially those are where, you know, the true mixture in both areas where the Saxons are and the English. And he said, I could wish their numbers were increased. And while we are, as I may call it, scouring our planet by clearing American woods, and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants in Mars and or Venus, why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so far fair an opportunity, by excluding all blacks and tawnies, of increasing the lovely white and red? Question mark. But perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country, for such kind of partiality is natural to mankind. All right, so that's what Ben Franklin had to say about it. And so, yeah, some interesting parallels. But, you know, again, it began with this newspaper article and using words that aren't in use anymore, like swarthy. It really opened up a real Pandora's box, a real rabbit hole of investigation. And as you can see, this word is, I'm sure, a middle a medieval word, maybe around that time. It was in common use when describing people. Again, when describing, you know, most descriptions had to be very thorough, because we weren't, you know, news traveled by print. And, you know, today news travels by word of mouth and imagery. So, you know, back then news traveled by print. And so if someone was to get a good description, or even, for instance, this runaway letter, they would have to be very thorough in their description of said person, so that the runaway could be identified. So naturally, if you go back to some of these, you will get very, very clear descriptions of who these runaways were. Not only that, but their origin, or where they were from. It says an English convict, so apparently this person was an English speaker. But again, they went very thorough in their descriptions, and so today we're pulling out some of that information to get a more clear understanding of what the past really looked like. But yeah, that's really all I got for you. I mean, I do have something else. I mean, you know, we talked about the English, the Irish. Let me see my readings research folder. I think I got something in terms of, yep, the Dutch. Here we go. So this is in Philadelphia, May 9th, 1753, right around the same time. Again, a runaway transcript. Runaway yesterday from the subscriber, which is an interesting word that is being recycled today, you know, in social media language. But that word was always essentially was said or meant that these people worked for this person, these runaways, and their subscriber essentially was putting in an ad about the runaway. So he must he subscribes to this particular newspaper, maybe. and he put an ad out for this runaway. But yeah, it says runaway yesterday from a subscriber in Lower Marion Township, Philadelphia County. Here it is, a Dutch servant. Now we're talking about Dutch. Named Bashan Remus, of a short stature, black, swarthy complexion. Now we're talking about Dutch. So we were with Irish, then English. Now we see a Dutch servant of a short stature, swarthy complexion, black curled hair, and upwards of 40 years of age. Professed to be a miller and of good Dutch scholar. So he had some schooling and understands some things of the Latin tongue. Wow. A runaway. Kind of reminds me of the movie 12 Years a Slave, where you had this guy who found himself in slavery, and he was a what was said to be a man of learning. So as we can see, that this Dutch guy, he was of a black swarthy complexion also. So we got Dutch, we got Irish, we got English, we got Native Indians, and we have Italian, we have Spanish, French, Russian, Swedes. All of these are considered swarthy complexion. So when you get them all in America, what do you have? I mean, the best thing to do is, because it's so hard to track who's who, the best thing to do is just call them all black, right? Call them all black. Of course, that wasn't the case in 1751, but today, we see that, slavery was of a mixed multitude. There were many people, many different slaves and indentured servants of many different ethnic, well, not necessarily ethnic, but we'll say, I'll say ethnic backgrounds. But the underlining feature of all of these is that many of them are black or tawny. Many of them are black and tawny. So now we have this melting pot of indentured servants, slaves, and today we just call them all black, right? Call them all black. So very interesting, all this information and kind of tying it all together. I think that's it for today. I will I'll have some more videos coming up, but I wanted to share that with the tribe, and I'll say till next time, peace be unto you, and you all have a blessed rest of your night, day, wherever you are in the world. Make it blessed.